And the reason why we did that is because we opened up a weekend of special events and activities here where I am in Sao Paulo, Brazil, on an island off of the coast of Sao Paulo called Evolution Island. And the event weekend is something that we're going to be doing every year. This is the first year, and this is kind of the test year. So things are a little bit crazy right now, to say the least. But it's exciting crazy. It's really good, a good word to use right now, because crazy is surprising. And in this weekend, Bob, since we talked on Friday evening, has gone by so fast. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel like Sunday. It feels like Friday night still, although the sun's out. That's the only difference.
Every person that I know that's on the radio or on TV or anything else, we all say the same thing. We don't get enough time off. So when it comes to the weekend, you got Saturday and Sunday, and before you know it, it's like Monday.
Yes. Especially when you're doing things that you love, and you're unconditionally love is even better than love. But this weekend is called Soul Weekend. And it's the first, like I said, the first annual event in June of every year from this point forward. We're going to be holding a similar workshop in education program about what is soul? What is our soul? Where does consciousness come from? What is our thinking about? Is it about our brain in our body, or is the consciousness outside of us? Is the brain all of our existence? And that's really the case, quite honestly, Bob. Our brain is only a processor. The fact is, the information is abundant and it's all around us. And that's our soul. That's the life force, or everyone calls it kind of different names, prana. In the spiritual world, it's called prana. And so this weekend was a very big success. Thank you very much to everybody that helped support the Soul Weekend in 2023. And we had a special event on Saturday where we did a ceremony with ayahuasca. And for your audience listeners, if they want to find out about what's going to save humanity, Bob, I think is this plant medicine called ayahuasca, because it's amazing. I don't know have you ever experienced anything, or have you heard about the ayahuasca?
We've done 2 or 3 shows about that. Let me see. 2 of them, one of them was from England and 2 of them were from South America.
Great. So you're familiar with the power and the cleansing of all of your human body, which includes your physical body, your mental, your emotional, and then your spiritual. So it's about a 5-hour ceremony or so. We had about 20 people. I didn't participate in the ceremony because I'm the kind of the caretaker and manager of the place, and just to have somebody that's of sound mind. Because sometimes when you start to break down, you literally break down, you cleanse. And right now, I have to live in the world of reality so that the listeners can understand and follow, and also bring away and take away something from this conversation, Bob. That's what's the most important thing. To have the listeners at Pyramid One Network and the Worldwide Network and Global Network and the Barb Charles Show, to, like you said, to connect with you. And you have all of the means. The issue is for us to engage the audience so that everyone knows how to do that with no complication and no more exhaustion on your part. Because I listen to everything that you say, and I listen to your prior podcast, and I understand the complications with communication probably better than most people. One of the areas that we focus on normally here, outside of ayahuasca and plant medicine and precision medicine, is one of the areas is holistics and cognitive behavior in science and quantum physics. And that's where the biodome introduction, the biodome introduction that came on before I started to speak, was a good AI version of what a biodome is. But the realities are it's quite more complicated, and it's totally complicated. But it's very simple. And the biodome is physical and it's not physical. and we focus more on the not physical. We're going to be having some of the physical domes here. We're going to make geodesic domes and do vertical gardens and everything that the introduction spoke about, the benefits of a physical dome. We know those benefits very well, but the non-physical benefits are only being explored right now. And quantum physics is the gateway that's really opening so many doors. The world has changed now that quantum has taken shape, because 50 years ago, even 100 years ago, we talked about things like quantum physics in our society, and our society was not ready for it, and basically excommunicated everybody and killed and murdered people and stole their equipment and burned books and did everything to stop the nonsense of what quantum physics was proposing. But the realities of today is everything that was proposed by Einstein, Dr. David Bohm, and Tesla, Buckminster Fuller, all of these people are coming true. Everything, Bob, not just one or two things.
You got to realize these guys were not they weren't prophets in any way whatsoever. Because I mean, I've already heard that term used a couple of times. They were just people who looked around them. They looked at what the earth was, what the earth could be. They made things so simple. All they did was they went to A to B. There were no meetings. There were no seminars. There was no media or news. There was just men that said, "Hey, I can do that," and they did it. And the same thing with Tesla. Look at Tesla. Tesla, way before our time or his time, he was saying that he could do anything wireless. Now they're finally getting it through their thick head that if I can send right here. I mean, wireless Wi-Fi. You have Wi-Fi. You got cell towers and things like that. It's all we're sending a voice, and you can send even more than that, wireless. And energy is energy. What comes out of the cell phone, what comes out of the computer, what comes out, it's all energy. So if you can send energy by Wi-Fi, why can't you send electric? What do you need wires?
We even beat the electric, Bob. You can send unconditional love. You can send the feeling that would vibrate everybody on planet Earth by just embedding the scalar wave signal, which is a specific code for what unconditional love means to everybody universally. It means no conditions. And like you were just describing, our society is full of conditions. That's why it takes forever to do anything. And if you don't have an attorney, and a team of attorneys is better, if you don't have that, you are screwed in this society.
Yeah,
you are totally lost.
You know what really, really gets me at that? You got all these mega corporations and everything. Like, for instance, I mean, I'm going to give you this, and then everybody that's listening right now, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You got all these administrations and all these corporations. So, okay, you get one president, and that president has gas at $1.89. He's got the food in the store, and that was an affordable price. He's got, people in that are running around, everything, prices and everything else in there, your economy, everybody's happy because they can afford things, they can work, they can enjoy, they can go out and play, whatever. Then you bring in another guy, and now the same gas that was $1.89 is now $4. The same food, I swear to you, and this is no kidding. I mean, I have a picture. If anybody wants to see the picture, I will show you. I've got a 12-pound turkey in a store for $70. $70. I have the picture. It's in a big chain, regular chain supermarket, which you would figure you would get something maybe more reasonable, but $70 for a 12-pound turkey. So this did not happen before, because before, for Thanksgiving, I bought an 11-pound turkey for $7.04. I have the picture. $7.49. 1 pound less. So it cost another $60, $65 to get another turkey now when another guy is president. Duh. The same thing comes to the happiness part. Who's happy we're putting $4 a gallon in the gas tank? And who's really, really, really not feeling good about gas cars going to be banned? It's coming up. And they want you to buy an electric car. But electric cars start at $40,000. They start. You get four wheels and a steering wheel. Here you go. Go. Have a good time. Now, if you want a real car, that starts at $110,000.
Yeah.
Now, I got a minivan that's a gorgeous minivan now because I go all over the place in that. So, I mean, I like to ride in something that's decent. It only cost me $20,000. It's a full-blown van, $20,000. But I bought it 4 years ago before the president change. Ooh. People, what you're describing about the dome is the fact that people they will get back the energy that they're losing through all I just talked about. All the things that bring us down, that make us feel terrible, that bring down your inner energy and your soul at the same time. I mean, let's face it. If people are happy, which I described that before, people walking down the street, I don't care if you know them or don't know the person, girl, guy, don't matter. You say, hi, good morning, how you doing? You hold the door. You don't see it anymore. The inside of people, what's going on. And you have a solution. You have a solution. So if that's the case, we got to start learning up,
Well, the learning process, Bob, unfortunately, I just want to give you some real-time information. The learning process is way over. There's no more learning. There's no more doing. There's just being. What we need is society that just bees. And I say that because what you just described in our society with the rising prices of inflation and inflation control in geopolitical circumstances, in a war in Russia, a major disruptive war, in the blowing up of pipelines and disrupting all of the supplies and all of the pressure and hype with all of the conditions that our world has. See, that's the root problem, Bob, is that we have conditions up the ass. We cannot get away from the conditions. And when you go to the supermarket to get your Thanksgiving festival turkey and you're experiencing the type of inflation, keep in mind for a second, Bob, that is nothing compared to the history of inflation in Latin America and what was experiencing right now in Argentina with virtually a total collapse. What's already happened in Venezuela, in just endless. In Brazil, thank God, right now the inflation is somewhat under control. But we produce gas and we export it. What they leave here is the crap, the worst gas that has water and all of the impurities in it. They leave it for the poor people of Brazil. Brazil is a developing nation. It's a third world country. So when you talk about the hardships it is in the United States, let's just say to everybody that let's just be grateful, totally grateful, and let's pray together that we can come together in unconditional love. And if people cannot understand what the hell that is, if they think it's just some fantasy, like some flower child in the 60s or 70s talking about some revolution or some social movement, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about no conditions at all in your mind, in your emotion, in your mental, emotion, physical, and spiritual. And that's why ayahuasca is so powerful, because in 5 hours, ayahuasca will take you and put you into the ground, Bob. It will drive you into the ground to the point of nothing, to the point of zero, what we call 0.00 absolute. It doesn't get any lower than that. But that's the learning process, because the hardship that you're facing right now is minuscule. I'll tell you, the whole world there's poverty, and people don't even have a fucking place to sleep, let alone drink fresh water or anything like that, or have electricity. In the United States, you know, I'm an American. I'm a proud American. I want to do everything to make sure that there's earning potential. My job is really to transfer technology from the United States, from the universities and the incubators that support the job growth. Any job growth that happens in the US comes from innovation and things like the AI movement and modern technologies. My job is to transfer as a diplomat. I'm a citizen's diplomat, and I do these things voluntarily. I don't get paid since 2010, Bob. I haven't gained any money. All it has been is a negative withdrawal from my account. That was the sacrifice that I made as an individual, because that's my passion. I'm driven. My whole life as purpose has been to promote unconditional love. I didn't realize that, quite honestly, to the listening audience. I'm no angel. I made every fucking mistake in the book. And excuse my language, but basically I did. And that's the truth. I'm not an angel. But on the other, I found out by coming to the 0.00 absolute, all of the evil and all of the fear and all of the conditions are washed away. And on the other side of 0.00 absolute is not negative zero. There is no negative. On the other side is pure vacuum. It's a pure vacuum. And that's where the aliens come through. They don't come through in front of you. They come through under the ocean and through the center of the earth. On the backs, in the center of our earth, we're basically a black hole. And when you go to the center of the earth, you at 0.00 absolute is the center. When you go to the other side, it is total vacuum and total light. Because at zero, at the 0.0, when you have nothing left, there's no competition, there's nothing, there's no movement, there's no light, there's no aggravation, there's no conflict, there's no war. All there is the feeling of unconditional love, because you're floating in the ocean of consciousness. When you're in that ocean and you come to 0.00, on the other side is levitation. It's zero gravity. It's vacuum. So what happens with the aliens, they can do warp speed. You go into that space and you can go to the end of the universe instantly, or you can go to Mars, or you can go wherever you want, because we have a planetary through astrophysics and through engineering and mathematics. We have a map, a very precise map of the total universe. So we can actually go from point A, which, for example, like right now, I'm on Evolution Island at a specific GPS, not what we use with the cellular phone right now. That GPS is not real time, and it's not accurate. It's not Bob Charles sitting right there where you are behind that mic.
Right.
What we need is more data. We need more data points. So it's not just longitude and latitude. It's also the time. What time is it right now? Oh, and also your elevation. What are you above sea level? Basically, that's what we need to know, exactly where Bob Charles is, and also where I am. And then we can share with each other. I could go there and sit with you. I could sit right in front of you, and I can just dematerialize and rematerialize. But I'm not traveling from here to Florida. I'm going from point A to point B. We're A and you're B. It's a whole different world. When you have the vacuum, you can do that. Einstein and all of the major theorists that have, Stephen Hawkins, everybody have, and Nassim Harriman from the Resonance Science Foundation, Nassim. All of these people have been working diligently for many, many years, and no one has solved the vacuum. Nobody. Einstein couldn't solve it before he died. So this theory of 0.00 absolute and what we're doing with soul, because that's where our soul is at 0.00 absolute. It's where nothing is, because everything comes from nowhere and nothing. That is the theory of quantum mechanics. If a person trained in Newtonian physics If you said that to them, that not everything comes from nowhere, they would walk out of the room and basically laugh at you, Bob.
You know
And
what?
that's the,
When you're
that's the
talking
truth.
about when you talk about quantum physics, you know the other side of that, what you had said, is quantum physics also means what if, and that's the secret of quantum physics, is the what if, because the what if is if somebody say you had an idea, all right, and you said, well, you know, I want to find out what this is. The what if is they find out. Like you said before, no BS. You just go and you get the answer. What you're giving is the answer. So someone had to ask, what if, for you to get the answer, or for them to get the answer, or for a scientist that studies quantum physics to get the answer. There's got to be questions before there's answers.
Well,
So,
before the questions comes discipline in
well,
study. And that's an individual thing before the questions, because the problem in our society, Bob, is that we are not asking accurate, exact questions. And our questions are loosey-goosey and come along with all sorts of conditions that are not loving at all, that are self-interest driven, ego driven, and not really in the solidarity effort and cooperation. Quite everybody has an interest, like what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And that type of attitude doesn't work, especially with quantum, because it's not about me, myself, and I. It's
no,
about I am.
right.
It's about the I am. It's about the I am.
Yes.
And so it's very simple. Even mathematics, like I mentioned Stephen Hawkins with the theory of black holes and everything. When you look at the root of everything, you see at the end 0.00 absolute. Everybody goes to that point. Everybody must go to that point. We came from there and we shall return to that point. When you die, you go through that point. If you're going to surrender your soul and your spirit, if you're going to do that and not have to relive your life, and it's a life changer. It's a life changer. That's what I'm saying. It's a mathematical. I'm not a religious. See, Bob, I've had over 50 jobs in the United States when I was growing. 50 on Social Security. This is public record. I'll give my Social Security. I'll give my tax returns. I'll tell everything. I need to do that because the only way that we can work unconditionally is by giving it all. Because in the return, there's no condition. I gave it all. I didn't hold back anything. Zero. If I have to go to court and defend myself, my language doesn't change from today, right here today on this show. You're going to see that the integrity of David Ferdinand is solid. And it's solid because I have a lot of experience and I work with a lot of people. And I'm an educated person. I learned the process of learning. I went to university. I paid the prices. I paid the taxes. I did what was right. I was trained as a responsible citizen of the world. My career goal was to be the ambassador, the Brazilian and American U.S. ambassador. That's the diplomatic citizens diplomacy side of spreading democracy is what this is really all about. And what is democracy? Not today, we don't really have that pure democracy because we have so many freaking conditions. In the United States, we're not even following constitutional rights. In Brazil, the Supreme Court here totally overruled the election process this last election. Everyone's vote was fraud, and they proved it. Everyone, Bob.
Yeah, but at least somebody there woke up. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean by woke up? Me?
No. I mean the whoever the court was, and that woke up. They turned around and said, "Hey, wait a minute, this ain't right."
No, they didn't say that, Bob. They didn't say that at all. What they did is shut off the media. They shut off the media, and they told Bolsonaro that Lula won the election. And even before the results from the election, people were calling Bolsonaro and saying, you have to follow through and allow this election to go this way. You have to. Basically, otherwise, everyone in your life is dead immediately, like wiped out. I don't know, call it the deep state, call it some force. But the fact is, they manipulated the judicial system here. They let out a prisoner, a criminal, which is the current president. They let him out of prison with evidence in 48 different counts of fraud and embezzlement of Brazilian taxpayer money over hundreds of trillions of reais. Hundreds of trillions.
Don't
Put it in
forget.
the Vatican. He put it in the Vatican at the Catholic Church in Rome, and he put it in the Cayman Islands, and he hid all of this money. And I'm not against anybody. I'm not against the government in the current system. I don't want people to feel that. I'm for governance. I'm for ethics.
You're for
morality.
honest politics.
Well, just an honest, unconditional love, Bob. Don't even call it honest politics, because those words do not equal unconditional love. Every word that we use, every word, and this is how the AI system works with deep language. Every word that we use has a meaning in a code, in what's called a tracer, in a biosignature. And when we string words together and we have good meaning, like even talking about love, there's no problem talking about love. But if you have conditions with the love, that's the problem. What we need to talk about is be very precise in the language that we use, because that language is what the computers now are programmed to do. So if our society and our culture is using negative words of fear, in controversy and conflict and war and all of the, I don't want to say low vibration, because they're not low vibration. Those are high vibration. That's anger. That's wanting to kill other people. And that's wanting to control other people, be like a dictator. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about calming down, breathing, in being. I am. And doing that is unconditional love for you and for everything that you do. And when that happens, Bob, and you sit and you listen to other conversations that have negative and also separation and fear, you can't be quiet, because it automatically, it's a condition. It's not unconditional love. You can see it right away. But our society just hasn't experienced, and most people, it takes many lifetimes to really walk away with that unconditional love. And our purpose, our sole purpose in life, and we will continue to live more and more lives until everyone achieves this, is to feel unconditional love and not to have the conditions, and to be here, to be present.
You know, it's funny that you say I am, because that's on my website, and so is the other side of that, which is to love yourself. So many people say, I mean, I've said that on Jamie's show a bunch of times and a bunch of other shows, Ned, that we talked about I am, in a sense. I tell everybody, go to the bathroom, and I think I told you too. Go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, look in your eyes, and I mean look in your eyes. I mean look at the middle of your eyeballs when you're doing it. I mean, seriously, look at it. And then say, I love you. Now, you're looking in the mirror. Who do you love? You. Now, when you love you, that energy goes out to everyone else, and you love them, they love back. Very, very simple.
Not really, Bob, because you're missing the point. When you just described your scenario, it sounds wonderful. But in reality, if that love that you just expressed had any conditions, which I suspect they do, but without saying the words unconditionally, I love you unconditionally, however you want to string it, you got to put the unconditional. It's like the absolute in the words, in the four symbols or words, 0.00 absolute. Those 4 words are a key in a sequence. You have to use those in exact. This is Sanskrit, and this is also the Tao, and a lot of inspiration, a lot of ancient history, and involves everything. It's about being precise in our language right now. We need to say the word unconditional is the same as absolute. I absolutely love you. I unconditionally love you. There's nothing that you can do. Nothing that you can. And by the way, I was just greeted here behind me. This is Roshan Terrell. And Roshan is a champion of unconditional love.
There you go. There you go. That's a better way to do it.
In action, and we just in the last 2 days, I've said unconditional love so many times here, Bob. And over the course of trying to promote this event over the last 4 years, I've streamed out thousands of messages with the words unconditional love, because we have to reprogram. We saying words that are nice like love, I love you. If you don't add that it's unconditional, then there's a condition, Bob. You have to be clear. We have to be clear with each other right now. We are on a tipping point. Humanity is in crisis. The inflation and all of the things that you're experiencing right now in the US is minuscule compared to what potentially can happen to destroy our human race. So we no longer have time to use improper words or words that are not totally conscious. Okay? I'm trying not to be too aggressive. One of the things about me is it's frustrating because when you experience unconditional love and you spread that, I am successful, you are successful, and the whole world is going to be saved. And that's why there's urgency in my voice and my message.
I had told you that I had an NDE. And when you come out on the other side, and you are on the other side, the feeling that you get on the other side, unspoken, is like getting hit with the word love. It is the most unbelievable feeling. I don't know what everybody gets on, whatever, but I'm telling you, it is the most. You can't. I can't. It's spiritual. It's so spiritual. It's not funny. It really, really is. The thing is, out of all of that, you have to actually keep talking it and talking it and talking it. And everyone, somewhere, somehow, some way, somebody's going to turn around and go, "Oh, is that what it is?" I'm serious. I've talked about it a million times, and Jamie will even tell you. I mean, I go out. I've talked in front of a lot of people, and told them like, "Look, and if you can't love the guy next to you, get out." It's like, and people look at me like, what are you, crazy? When I actually explain what unconditional love is, they're like, their mouths are open. I don't know what happened. A long to look. We had it. I'm over 70. So all those years ago, and that they had, or unconditional love, wasn't even spoken about because it was there. It was there all the time.
But
Nobody had to do anything.
To interrupt, but really, it has never left. And God has not abandoned the human race.
I didn't say it left.
No, but you say in the past, like referring to like the better days where ago. In the future is going to be like doomsday, and that we're going to be fucked.
All right.
The fact is that you cannot deplete consciousness. Consciousness is an evolutionary process. In the past, in the present, in the future is only one. So when we talk, and it's easy for us to fall into this trap, we can do it because it's really self-sabotage to believe that our childhood is better than what we are now. Well, because we are programmed to get old, to get sick, and to die.
I'm sorry, I'm not, man. I'm just, if somebody's going to wiggle their nose, I'm out of here. But let me explain to you what you were saying. Like, I'm not saying that unconditional love isn't here. I'm saying that the energy part of it was forgotten. I'm not saying it ever left. Energy. How many times did I got to tell you? Energy does not die. Never, ever. It does not die. So therefore, if the word love emits energy, every time you say love, it emits energy. I don't care who you are, where you are, but you know what you're doing. You could be building a house. I don't care. And if you say, "Oh, I love this nail," just the word "love," period, would make you feel better. And people,
Actually, I don't want to interrupt again, but I disagree because love with a condition is the world we live in. So when I say to people, I made a mistake, quite honestly. It was a critical mistake because I used to go around and tell everyone I love you. Like right away, I love you. And people would look at me and say, who are you to love me? You have no idea who I am.
oh yeah,
You have no idea what I've gone through. You have no idea my pain and suffering. You take your love and you take it out of here. Get out of here right now. Leave this place. That's the reaction. And now I learned you need to use the words unconditional love. I love you unconditionally. And then when the person comes back with some condition, then you can say, that's not unconditional love. That has a condition. And so this is what I'm trying to say. We need to be precise, Bob. I'm not like diminishing or kind
no,
of silencing you. I hope not. I hope I'm not speaking over you.
no, no,
That's
no,
not
no.
the point.
Let me get the full picture, the full view of everybody.
No, well, actually, we have to be careful. He was just asking if you would like everyone to kind of come together so you could see kind of everybody, if that's a value or if it's going to disrupt the signal.
Oh, you can get them. Sure, you can put them all in there. As long
Let's
as that,
go down. We're going to downstairs. Everyone's leaving right now, and we'll kind of wrap up the discussion as we're walking down. But go ahead, Bob.
One thing I want to do. The Skype, the recording came on a little late, so it missed part of the promos in the beginning. So I want to play the one about the biodome again. So don't click out.
Okay, I
As long
won't.
as you're in, it'll record on Skype. Because I want to get so everybody hears it and they get some kind of an idea, and then they can relate to what you're doing as per what the word biodome means. All right, now you froze.
Would like to refer to that. Are you going to do that now? Go ahead.
No. The very end.
Okay, at the very end. Okay.
Yeah. You got.
I'm going down. I'm walking down the stairs. People are going to start coming down. The boat hasn't arrived yet. It's kind of sunny down here, so the lighting is a little bit different, but we'll adapt. We'll adapt. We're just, I apologize and please forgive me. I'm sorry if I'm, this has been a whole week where basically I've done all of this myself. I'm working alone on this. I'm a crusader. I'm a real patriot, really, American patriot. I believe in democracy, Bob. I do not believe in any control whatsoever of a person's will. And so I'm kind of, this weekend has been a huge success and I'm so excited. And I apologize if my voice and my energy is a little bit over the top.
Don't worry about it. Hold it. You're doing fine. No problem. I mean, everybody that's listening, for Christ's sake, this guy, and JC's watching me right now, this guy is down under. I mean, way down under. And what he does, anybody that's up here in Northern America, and that couldn't even come close to doing. So, hey, congrats.
No, actually, Bob, I want to send a message that I am not that type of special person, that everybody has unconditional love, and that's all that I live. So the work that I do and the risk that I take are artificial, because the only reality is the world that we live in. And I cannot, as a father of two children, not children anymore, they're 31 and 32 boys, my boys, and my job and my responsibility as a father to them is to try to pave the way so that their voice can be heard and that they can express themselves and that they can live perfectly healthy and that they can be perfectly wealthy. Those are the three things that I'm trying to satisfy for my kids. If I can do that, then that's the nucleus of what we're doing. And so right now, the world is very, very questionable. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just questionable. Pete, we're at a tipping point. We need to come to terms with the AI situation, especially. I know we spoke a little bit about that.
Yeah, we
And,
did.
and
And you know the funny part about that AI stuff, there's a good side to that. There really is. But there's also the
that,
bad side to it. And the bad side, I mean, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. I mean, out in the street, right out, in front of the studio. They were talking about the AI stuff and everything else. And it seemed to be something that was bugging them. So I more or less lent myself into the conversation. And the guy was yelling, "It's no good. It's this, that, the other thing." I said, "Look," I said, "You know what?" I said, "If it can make a job just a little bit more easy, then it's okay. If it's going to take over your life, then it's not okay." And right now, the way it looks, 2/3 isn't good, 1/3 is good.
okay, fair enough. Let's switch that equation.
No,
Let's make
that's the way it's being presented. I'm not saying it's bad all the way, but the way it's being presented is 2/3 is no good and 1/3 is good.
Well, you take the polls like in the United States, Bob. In general, Americans do not believe that the future is very promising.
Nope.
70 or 80% of all people think that we are going to feel the worst in maybe Great Depression type of stuff, inflation that you can't believe, and all of these controversy type of theories. But the fact is, if we can, all we have to do is have unconditional love for ourselves and for every life form around us. That's all. It's very simple. And it doesn't require like an education at a university, any age. As soon as you are born, if that is our goal and objective, is to raise our children with that spirit of unconditional love and have that carry through their lives, they can live very long, healthy, happy lives. But if we have all of the negative and all of the conditions that we're passing from one generation to another generation, and it's just snowballing and it's just getting more and more complicated, our young kids are going to be so confused, which is what's happening right now in the state of Florida and everywhere, with all of the policies of basically with education and just confusing the hell out of people. There's no point. There's no fixed point to grab onto, but now there is, because
let me give you something on the fear side, because you're on the right. You're definitely on the right thing, and you did mention Florida, and it's one of the spots that I think is going to be the hot spot as far as fear and shock and all the rest of the stuff in that is concerned. China threw a bunch of money at Cuba, and now they're actually moving bases, military bases, into Cuba. Now, if you remember, there was a president a long time ago, Kennedy. And Kennedy told the Russians, when the Russians were moving bases and nuclear weapons into Cuba, he told them, if you go into Cuba, we will take care of you. Kennedy wasn't kidding. He was like Trump a long time ago, Now, we've got China coming into Cuba, and nobody in the administration is really bothered by it whatsoever. So and they were also they also paid or got paid $5 million from China, and nobody knows what for. So why is China moving into Cuba and nobody here seems to care? I see something that's not too good. And people are reacting to that. And the reactions are not like as I always say, I love people that question all the time, because people that question, they're looking for, it's not the questions, it's the answers they're looking for. The same thing. People are not asking enough questions. Like, why has this happened? Why did it happen? What can we do to not make it happen? How can people have to say this, how can I get a better life? How can I finally be happy? How can I not have to fear about something because somebody that I can't speak to, deal with, or whatever? Why are they doing this to me? And free yourself. As you said, free yourself. Get with other people. Get together and do so, like you did your soul weekend over there. Get people together. Get a seminar and talk about it. That's how you disperse fear, is to talk about it. Come up with a
Well,
solution.
yeah, we're the example. So if you have unconditional love for yourself, everyone around you recognizes that. I'll
Right.
give you an example. When I go to Washington, D.C., and I go into a public office building, unfortunately, I'm not trying to separate myself from the population, but everyone in the hallway scatters, just like mice, literally, and walk down the hallway alone, and people are hiding in the office because they can smell unconditional love from miles away. From miles away. I have been classified as dangerous, literally dangerous.
You
Do
know,
I seem dangerous to you, Bob?
no. Maybe we
No.
should. Maybe we should bottle unconditional love. We'd make $1 million.
Well, you don't have to bottle it. Basically, right now, what we have is electronic resonance pulse machine. And so when we have a scanning device called B3 scanner, and B3 stands for brain body biofield scanner. And it's a 20-second scan, just like at the airport. But we're not looking for weapons. Although weapons would come up on the system, if you come here to the island to go through the scanner and you have a weapon, that's not a good idea to go in the bioscanner with a weapon. The response is very bad for you. You could
No.
die.
Yeah,
You could die.
I would say throw it out before you go through.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not bring it here at all.
Right.
And not even, I'm not against weapons in protection with our amendments and our rights as citizens, because if the government gets too damn strong and tries to invade your house, you got to protect yourself somehow, Bob. You gotta have, so I'm not against protection with weapons, but I'm against like military style multi-rounds where people can commit mass suicides and take down everyone along with them. They're suicidal themselves because they have conditions. They don't know how to unconditionally love, not themselves, not the world, not an ant, not an animal, a dog or a cat. They don't know that. They don't know that feeling. They lived in fear all of their life, and they're mentally imbalanced. So this device, the B3 scanner, the brain body biofield scanner, adjusts you in 20 seconds, Bob. You walk through this device and it scans your body, it balances you, harmonizes you, and electrifies you into a biophotonic white light that illuminates you. It's called the enlightenment. The actual B3 scanner is called enlightenment. And when people come here in the future, they walk through that scanner and they come out, everyone comes out with this big smile on their face. The biggest smile, like you said, when you look in the mirror, who you looking at? With your smile, when you smile and you have unconditional love every time you smile, the only way you can smile is unconditional love. And it feels so good. And you want to smile all the time. And life is not so much of a burden. Life is a blessing. Life is not a curse. And we have it. We have a lot of things just opposite. It's not wrong. It's not right, but it's just the other side. And we need to come to the other side to balance out our consciousness, because it takes good and bad to make a whole. You have to have both sides before you have the union, man and woman, when they make love and they conceive of make hopefully unconditional love is even better than making love. See, that a simple word like making love, when I say that to somebody, their perception of that is going to be totally different than if I say make unconditional love.
Yeah, you know what?
That is creation.
While you're saying that, and that it was a conversation that I did have with a young lady once, and well, not once, only about a month ago. The woman was talking about, I can't find a boyfriend, blah, 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 and everything else. That she's about, maybe 26, 27, 28, in that ballpark somewhere. And I said to her, I said, that's the last time I said unconditional, except for my dog. It was the last time I said unconditional love. And I said to her, I said, why don't you just use unconditional love as a conversation piece? And she says, are you crazy? I said, no, I'm not crazy. I said, well, yeah, okay, I am a little crazy. But on the other hand, look at it this way. I said, if you do say that, either the guy is going to love you or not. I said, there's your turning key. I said, right there. I said, people are going to turn around. The ones who don't have any possibility of ever even coming to unconditional love, those are the ones that are going to run. And the ones that don't run, I said, those are the ones that are keepers. And I said,
Right.
now you have your keepers. Go pick. And she was laughing. She was laughing her head off. I said to her, I said, trust me on this one. I said, it's absolutely true. I said, because what's going to happen, I said, if you do take whatever happens to be standing there, you're going to wind up marrying or living with someone that you're not going to want to or wonder why you did.
That's right, because you started the union with conditions.
Right.
Even the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
I was married in the church. I took the oaths of in sickness and health and good and bad and in whatever, everything. I don't remember exactly, but it was all conditions.
Yeah.
The fact is, all we need to do is ask, like you said, this young woman that's trying to meet a soulmate or somebody that makes her life enriched and full of pleasure. All we need to do is on that first meeting, ask the words unconditional love. Do you love unconditionally? Or you don't even have to ask. If you're in unconditional love, you don't need somebody to tell you that. They know it.
You should be able to sense it.
Exactly. You feel it. Absolutely. You feel
Yeah.
it. But it's the conditions.
So many people that say to me all the time, and I've been told to me that I'm out of my mind. Souls talk. People don't understand. A soul is a soul, and we are an organic, organism. So therefore, when the soul says to the organic organism, "Hey, look, this is what we got to do," that's when your brain says, "Hey, yeah, you got to do that," and then you itch your ear or pick your nose or whatever you got to do. But all of these things that are all relative to one thing. It's all that energy that is there that you can use it or not. And so many, like we up here and that right now, and that I see so many people with burnt out brains. They walk around texting all day. And they're either watching movies, playing games, texting somebody or something. I turned around to one guy that I met the other morning. I said to him, I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I saw him, let me see, I was in and out of a place for about 40 minutes. The second time that I came out, the guy was still in the same spot he was, still texting on his phone. So I walked up to him, I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question? And he said, yeah. And I said, don't you ever dial a number? I said, well, why don't you just dial a number and, take the phone and say, hello. And I said, what do you have to text for? I said, I'm serious. Don't you ever get, tired thumbs? Something? I said, your brain, I said, is not working up to its optimum by doing what you're doing. You're facing all your energy into a cell phone. And the cell phone don't give a damn about you. Don't care one way or the other. I said, why don't you talk to someone who, by talking to them, you're, transferring your energy back and forth. Even though it's a cell phone, it's still going through the wireless. Somebody knows you care. Somebody knows you care enough to call them. I said, so what is the big deal? And it's like, but cell phones are good. When I first got one, I worked for a communication company. So I had a cell phone before anybody had one. Nobody, I had one that was the size of a car battery you could carry around. I mean, that was a cell phone.
I remember. I'm
yeah.
the same, about the same age, a little bit younger than you, Bob, but not much.
But it was Motorola had it.
Yeah.
And we were doing all kinds of work and tech work and everything else with Bell Labs because they were coming out with the internet for business, and that's what they were doing. And we couldn't fathom. If somebody told us texting on a phone, we'd look at them and say, "Huh?" Because we would what? Text on a phone? What are you, crazy? Now we're carrying our whole computer in our phone. Which is
it's going to get much more exciting than that, Bob. I don't know if I mentioned to you Dr. Stephen Greer in the Project Disclosure.
I know Greer.
With the ET intelligence and all of the classified documents about UFOs and and free energy and all sorts of alien technology. Dr. Stephen Greer, this week, right now, tomorrow, when the Congress opens up, the House and the Senate have over, I think, thousands of pages of testimony that we have the evidence. We have a whistleblower class action lawsuit against the U.S. government for holding that information illegally against constitutional rights for us to know. We have the right to know that these technologies exist. And what's so important is that Congress has no choice right now. You know, they skated out through all sorts of other presidential administrations. They prevented the disclosure, but now the evidence is overwhelming, and the whistleblowers are coming out every day. New whistleblowers, new scientists. They have a team of attorneys, like 100 attorneys right now, that are working together to put together the lawsuits against the government for crimes against humanity that actually have murdered people. And that now in 150 military top secret military bases or so, in the ground and under the ocean, Bob, we're talking about huge facilities that are actually manufacturing these UFOs. But they're still testing. They haven't figured out all of the technology because the extraterrestrials have unconditional love. And these people have taken that information and using it for themselves, for some condition, not even love, not love for themselves, for control and control of the world and having a monopoly. And the U.S. government and through NASA and all of them, the CIA, FBI, everybody's involved. The class action lawsuit, literally every federal, state, local organization are guilty of doing this. But now they cannot hold this information anymore. It is going to be released, absolutely released at some point. And when it happens, the information that we're going to receive, you, me, and the whole world, is going to be information that is going to, it's not potentially going to change poverty, unemployment, everything, transportation, education, everything is going to evolve. It's not going to cancel out everybody, and people will still have jobs and stuff. So people don't need to panic. Like, oh my God, what are we going to do? The aliens are coming to, like some,
No. You know what? Everybody.
So, like the Twilight Zone. It's not going to be like the Twilight Zone. We have consciousness. We are aware. We have mathematics. We have the science.
Everybody talks about the aliens, and they're for oh well, if the aliens come here and everything else. All right, let me just tell you a little story. I have someone that was actually on an alien ship. He's a good friend of mine. He comes from New York, and that he's a photographer. He's taking pictures of the ships and everything else. And I know him for years. So the guy is not. He's not the kind of person that you couldn't believe. I mean, he's that good.
But when they get towards the boat, everyone is kind of navigating towards the boat right now. But you can continue to talk because I'm very interested. We're listening to you. We're just going to move around a little bit. Go ahead.
No problem. So anyway, what he actually had told me was that we here on the Earth are babies. These are people or a civilization of people that have been here for many, 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 many millions and millions of years. That's why they have the technology they do. That's why they know what they know, because they've been around the block a few times. So we are, to them anyway, a civilization that's growing, that's coming alive, just like they did, just like, I mean, every single civilization, no matter who they are, no matter who the aliens are, no matter what planet they came from, we all started the same way.
That's right.
We all have a deity, believe it or not. They do too. There are galactic councils and things because they beat the word politics. They have a bunch of people that work for the people. Period. No question about it. For the people. They don't make deals. They don't use money. They don't. Most of them, they can telepathically talk to you anywhere. When you're down in Brazil, I'm up here in Florida, and I could turn off this microphone and you'd still hear me talking. So, I mean, these things are not new to them. They're new to us. So if they turn around and they say, well, we want to come down here and that, we want to help you guys with this and that and the other thing, and we want you to help, there's nothing that we can't do for them either. There are plenty of things that they want to do, that they need somebody that's not them. I mean, they some of the things that we're doing that's new to us, they forgot about 500,000 years ago. So they're learning again from us what their race forgot.
I guess I have to agree, but I'm kind of a little bit lost because
they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing but love in the way they live their lives.
Conditional love.
Exactly.
An alien doesn't really care about the emotions of a human being. An alien like Spock. I mean, Spock on Star Trek. The intelligence of the Starship Enterprise was like an alien, and so the alien is about logic and about reasoning and things that we can program into the system, and that's not a condition. Those are data points. Those are facts. That's just the fact.
All right. So let's go around the globe here a little bit. Now, when you're talking about the biodome, what should people know about the biodome and why they should actually either talk to you, contact you, get in touch with the project?
Yes. Well, the biodome is a complex technology innovation that is just coming to fruition. If we can disclose what Dr. Stephen Greer is trying to disclose, that would help me to explain not only to you, Bob, and the listeners, but the whole world, what this technology capability is. Because I'm a channeler. I am a channeler, like Jamie and like Maggie. Because I have unconditional love, the aliens talk to me in the alien intelligence. Not to say I see visions. I don't see visions. I hear things like ringing in my ears. I get like movements in my body, like pushing, like somebody poking a finger at me to say, get out of bed, go over there, move. And so I'm taking orders directly by consciousness. And every time that I make an action or a movement, it's an unconditional situation. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not trying to evaluate it. What I'm doing is basically a filter, not even a filter. I'm just a pure pass. It's just a channel. It allows that the intelligence to come to me, and my job is to be able to work with that so that people are not afraid. Bob, what we're talking about is very simple. I'm not talking about the sophisticated systems of bioengineering, bioscience, precision medicine, and all of that. I'm not making it complicated, because before we get complicated, let's deal with the simple. Let's deal with the most simple. And it doesn't get any simpler than 0.00 absolute. And if we can come together and meet there, that's where the soul is. And that's where all creation comes from. All creation. And we are all connected at 0.00 absolute. You have 0.00 absolute, Bob. You are 0.00 absolute. So am I. But our logistics and our GPS is the only thing that's different. Our fixed point is at 0.00 absolute.
Yep.
Where you are in Florida is just a different point. And that's why in the future, we're going to prove that you could come here right now. You don't have to be bogged down by anything. You're going to have so much freedom. AI's promise is that human beings will have more recreational time to enjoy themselves and to have unconditional love for everybody and everything. That's the promise about AI technology.
You did hear about the 4-day work week?
I think there should be total flexibility. I don't really think that people necessarily have to report anywhere to do any duty. I think that people should live their passion in every moment that they're awake. When they wake up in the morning, they should say, thank God I have another opportunity to experience unconditional love. And if they already experienced it, it's wonderful, because basically that's where you're spreading in the world. And that's positive. That's growth. That's life. That's not a death. That's not a death wish. That's not suicidal. That's not depressive. That's a balanced human being that has a balanced brain. Right and the left is working together. All the energy fields are harmonized and optimized. And so the promise of AI is real. And that's what our purpose here. Roshan, who introduced himself a little earlier, some of the people are leaving now. You taking off?
Yeah, we take a picture there.
Okay, taking a picture. I'm going to stay on. You can take some pictures.
Uh-huh.
This is Bruno here. This is Bob Charles from
Bruno.
the Pyramid One Network global radio station.
It's a pleasure.
And Bruno is the shaman that administered the ayahuasca, and he has an institute. He's a professional. He's a young man. He's 29 years old, and he has education program about the soul and about consciousness, and that's what this weekend. And
see, that's what we have to do. See, we have to get a bunch of you guys with a little. You got to get a laptop over there with a better camera, so that I could get everybody sitting at the table, and we could all talk about this. I mean, I'm sure that, like, we have your view of the subject, but then somebody else is going to add to it, and someone else is going to add to it. And after a while,
unfortunately, I don't want to interrupt again, but there is no adding to 0.00 absolute.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
there's no taking away.
For instance,
yeah,
everybody can be on the same subject, but talk about a subject with a different perspective, in a way.
And but that's the problem. It's in a way. We are individual people, but we're connected by the soul. Mm-hmm. We are connected at 0.00 absolute. That is the source. That is God's creation. That's consciousness. And so there is no option. It's not like we're saying, Bob, to people, you have a choice to go there or not to go there. What we're saying to people, you have a choice to go there while you're alive in your body, or you're going to wait until you have a death experience, like what you said you closely experienced. Oh, you're going to see that. You're going to see that. But to do it when you're alive is wonderful, because then you can do something with it. If you wait until you're dead to be enlightened and to pass through, you're going to have a difficult time. You're going to leave a lot of baggage behind, and people that are relying on you. All right. Anyways, we're taking a photo. We're trying to get everyone rounded up here. I don't know if you see people. You're going to photo?
Everybody's waiting for the boat.
I'm going to stand up in the back. I'm going to stand up back here. Yeah, this boat is going to be very full, which we don't advise to put that many people on the boat at one time. But everyone's excited about going and spreading unconditional love in the society here. When they arrive in the mainland, people are going to see the smile on their face, and they're going to feel unconditional love. And they're going to say, what did you do this weekend? We have to do that. It's so wonderful. And that's what we're trying to spread here. Here we go. Okay. They just finished. Thank you for bearing with that.
Oh, no, it's good. It's
good. How much more time do you have today, Bob?
Well, I was just going to say that. Tell us how to get in touch with you, and then I'll play the promo that Skype missed.
Okay, the best way for me, and this might surprise some of the listeners, but it's Facebook. And if you go to Facebook and go to Ila Das Covis, that's LIHADASCOUVS, San Sebastian, SAOSBASTIAO. I know it's a long thing, but or people can navigate. Also, if they want to talk to you at the station, you have my WhatsApp number. You have everything, my email address. I think you have my LinkedIn and everything. Rather than going over the show and with all of that information, my name is David Ferdinand, Ferdinand. And
look at my LinkedIn as well, Roshan Terrell, Roshan Marcel, Valentino Terrell. I'm with Vector Space Biosciences. David can also send you a connection if people want to see. You can see everything that we're doing. We'll be launching a CubeSat into space.
You know what you can do? This is what you do. Send your information to Bob Charles Show at live.com. If you send the information to me, I can put it together, and I'll put it together with David's information. And then this way here, I have it that I can put on the bios and everything else that I send out with David's name on it. So that I can have your name and and his on there. And these things they go out to Twitter. They go, let me see, we got about nine accounts in Facebook. So I mean, it's all over the place. It's all over the world, actually.
Very much. It's good what David is doing here. He's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the network is part of it, because I mean, this is what we've been saying for the last let me see, our network June 21st was 13 years old. So for 13 years we've been saying, hey, it's time. If you look at anything that we have in there from the station somewhere, there's a picture of a dolphin in that, and it says it's for Pyramid 1, and it says it's time. And that was designed 10 years ago so that people would finally get it through their head that, like, hey, we got to slow up. We have to realize that love is really a word, not only a word, but a feeling. And that feeling is transferred to anyone you meet because it's energy.
Hallelujah. Amen.
That
couldn't have said it any better.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to play this. You guys can stay there. You could show the people that are over there by the boat.
Good.
And then after that, it'll be on Rumble and it'll be on YouTube tomorrow morning. And we now have an audio, so anybody can take that one that I send you, and they can put it in their cell phone, and they can show it to anyone and let them listen.
Welcome to WKIT-DG Radio on the Pyramid One World Radio Network. We are your source for the latest news, music, and entertainment from around the world. Our programming is designed to keep you informed and entertained with a variety of content that will keep you engaged. Tune in to hear interviews with your favorite artists, exclusive live performances, and more. So sit back and relax as WKIT-DG Radio brings you the best in global radio entertainment.
Biodomes are enclosed environments designed to support and sustain various forms of life, typically plants and sometimes animals, in a controlled and artificial ecosystem. Biodomes can serve several purposes, including scientific research, conservation, education, and even potential colonization efforts. If the Biodome project in Brazil aims to create such an enclosed environment, it could potentially contribute to various areas of importance. Environmental conservation. Biodomes can facilitate the conservation and protection of endangered plant and animal species. By providing a controlled habitat, it may be possible to preserve and propagate species that are at risk in the wild. Scientific research. Biodomes provide controlled environments that enable scientists to study ecosystems, climate change, plant growth, and other related areas. The data and knowledge gained from such research can contribute to a better understanding of our environment and inform conservation efforts. Agriculture and food production. Biodomes can be utilized for innovative agricultural practices, including vertical farming and sustainable food production. By optimizing environmental conditions, biodomes may help enhance crop yields, conserve water, and reduce the need for pesticides. Education and outreach. Biodomes can serve as educational tools, allowing visitors to learn about ecosystems, biodiversity, and sustainable living. They can inspire people to engage in environmental stewardship and raise awareness about the importance of conserving natural resources. It's important to note that the benefits and impacts of a specific project can vary depending on its design, objectives, and implementation. Without more details about the specific Biodome project in Brazil, it's challenging to provide an accurate assessment of its potential contributions to the world.
And there you go. We had our Sunday show with David. All right, let's bring in David. There you go. There you go. Awesome show. Thank you very much. And from Florida, have a good day.
Day.